Alok.
Madam Toastmaster, dear Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Let's become effective leaders. My speech today is going to give you 4 points that, if you implement, is going to make you an effective leader. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All of you?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's start off. Number 1, calm, assertive energy. Effective leaders provide calm and assertive feedback. They don't sugarcoat. And the best way to start off is by taking an example from a Toastmasters meeting. Why? Because a group is where we learn more frequently and more effectively. When we talk to others, we share many things beyond our personal life, your professional life, and we learn a lot rather than in one-to-one meetings. So long-time members and long-time leaders in a club, they are expected to provide feedback to the newer members, to encourage them to implement the standards of the club, like over here, the Toastmaster standards, or to influence them, to motivate them, to guide them through the ranks to reach newer goals and reach up to DTM level in a Toastmasters meeting. Now, when we talk about Toastmasters, an evaluator's job is to correct calmly but with authority. You're not expected to sugarcoat your words. You are expected to provide a clear feedback to me. So if all of you are evaluating me today, you're expected to tell me what my mistakes are so that I can improve upon them rather than making them outside, right? So that's about calm, assertive energy. The second point is positive reinforcement. Which effectively means that if you like some behavior in somebody, you need to appreciate that. Only then you are going to get positive results next time from that person. Okay? And when we say positive reinforcement, it includes negative punishment and it includes vocal interrupters. Like when you talk about Toastmasters meeting, we do have interrupters in the form of R counters. So they make you aware of that you're not going in the right direction. And we have the timer report as well, which says there are boundaries over here that you have to adhere to, right? So that's being in the positive reinforcement. And mind you, positive reinforcement doesn't mean being permissive, which means you don't have to kind of agree to each and everything what the speaker says. Okay, it doesn't mean whitewashing. So, which essentially means the tendency to compliment everything that the speaker says so that you don't hurt her feelings. Okay, so don't do that. Be clear on what you have to say in terms of your feedback. Number 3rd point, opportunities for growth. Which simply means in order to become an effective leader, you have to provide opportunities to your subordinates. And try to make it exciting because we tend to learn much faster and in a more effective way when the opportunities are exciting for us. So when you talk about Toastmasters, the newer members, they have goals set aside. So it's the job of senior leaders in the team, the senior long-time members over here, to encourage the newer members to adhere to standards, to make things exciting for them, to give them new goals and help them achieve them, and then try to overcome the difficulties for them. Okay? And events such as conferences or any special meetings, even the Toastmasters roles like R counter or the timer corrector, they are great opportunities to move forward and take next step in your improvement. So with this, I hope everybody knows about today's meeting in the evening. So it's a great point that we've brought up. So try to attend it. It's going to help you in becoming an effective leader along with the lines of opportunities for growth. The last point to become an effective leader is being consistent. Okay, which simply means whatever you do, try to be consistent. Now, if you talk about Toastmasters or any group for that matter, being consistent could mean different things for different members. For a newer member over here, it could mean attending the meetings on time and adhering to the standards of Toastmaster, trying to achieve your goals, and even if you've reached to the top, wherein you achieve your DTM certification, you can always start off afresh by going through different speeches or different strategies, right? And if you are a newer member, we've talked about being on time. So if you are new to the club, you can always take help from senior members to guide you, to evaluate you, to motivate you, right? So that's about being consistent. Now, with these 4 aspects in mind, do you think you are ready to becoming an effective leader?
Yes.
Again, once again, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Alok. May we have a minute on the clock for people to write their evaluations, and I invite any guests who are here to feel free to evaluate as well. We all welcome anyone's feedback on how well we are doing and how we might improve. Thank you. Alok's word for this year is passion, and I think we can see it when he speaks. Penelope Bohm will be evaluating his speech, and Penelope's word for this year is alive. Penelope Bohm.
Thank you, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Alok does have passion, but what I really admired today was that he had breath as well. He slowed down. He took a wonderful amount of time to show each of his 4 points around the room. This was wonderful. This is exactly the steps of progress that we look for in everyone, that he's taken previous comments and notes and objectives, and he's really incorporated them into this speech. This speech was to really speak up with great confidence about something that was trying to make a specific point. The speech was to have a general objective, and his general objective was to instruct us and to give us guidance in how to become better leaders. I think although in Toastmasters we use the word leader and we use leadership for a wide range of things, I think actually he gave us goals that were for being part of a team or being part of a group or being part of a supportive environment. So he stated his general purpose right up front, and he asked us the question, are you willing to go along with me? And he waited until he got buy-in. Go for it. He then had 4 very specific things, which was the next goal of the speech, breaking down your general purpose into specific elements. I wondered if it might have been effective if he quickly said what those 4 elements were going to be, then doubled back and spoken about each of the 4, and then at the end, again, reiterated those 4. It seems a little bludgeony in a way, but all of us remember things very slowly, dimly, and poorly. So it does help the more often you repeat what you want your audience to know, and the clearer you are in getting them to know it. He had amazing relaxation in looking around the room. Eye contact per se is going to come with a later speech, but I saw already his ability and his willingness to get his eyes up and around, which is a very hard thing to do, and it was wonderful to see. He asked me to look at his speed, which I've already commented on. Another thing he will be working on in future speeches are his hands. He's avoided his earlier fig leaf, and he's now introduced, I don't know, the kneading bread hands or something. So these things will happen, but these are progressions. He did well. He did well to not use notes as well. I think that just following the next objectives of the speaking in the manual will really help him formulate his speeches better and continue to refine the actual points that he's trying to make while he maintains his passion. Yes, Master.
Thank you, Penelope. Our next speaker, Bryan Moran, has set a high goal for himself with his word. It is to achieve. Bryan Moran will be speaking from speech number 4, organizer's speech, entitled How to Say It. How to Say It, Bryan Moran.
Jane gave a great advice the other day, last year actually, on the way here, practicing vocal exercises on the subway. And she was right. You will get some strange looks, but also more importantly, I feel more capable to speak. So thank you for that tip and thanks for the introduction. So hello, Toastmasters and guests. The other day was the Golden Globes, and the Alfonso Cuarón was accepting the Golden Globe for Best Director. And he said a funny story. He said he was speaking to his star actress, which was Sandra Bullock, and he said in a French accent, Sandra, I'll give you herpes.
No.
Yeah, it was, what? You know, what did he say? That was what people wondered, including Sandra Bullock. And he didn't want to give her herpes, this viral disease. He said, Sandra, I want to give you an earpiece so he could communicate with her. And I think Alfonso would agree, how you say it is important. And how to say it is also the title of the CC manual number 4, which I'm doing, and how to say it is also the title of my speech. So I'm just going to give you a few rhetorical devices which can be helpful in conveying a message. And the first one being rhetorical question. How am I going to keep this interesting? Will there be a quiz at the end of my talk on rhetorical devices? So that's an example of a rhetorical device, of a rhetorical question. And the second one being, the second rhetorical device I'm going to go over is onomatopoeia, which I think is a very fun one. And those are the words that imitate the sound. So an example of that would be the buzzing of a bee, or the hissing of a snake. The next one would be symbolism. I think of the Olympics fast approaching. The torch in the beginning signifies the opening of the Olympics, the lighting of the torch. And then dousing it at the end signifies the end. So that would be an example of symbolism, which is something that sort of represents something else, has like a figurative meaning as well as the literal meaning. And then the other thing I want to do is now just give a quick anecdote and use a few rhetorical devices in the anecdote, and maybe you can guess which ones I'm using. It was a wonderful summer day, about 80 degrees, in the heart of Central Park, lush green lawn, a place called Sheep's Meadow. I was there having a picnic with my then girlfriend. The cool whooshing of the breeze. We nestled under a tree. We sat about a 45-degree angle from each other so we could gaze into each other's eyes, as well as see what was going on around us, and see people playing and throwing the frisbee, the beating of the Congo drums, boom, 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 and hearing the sound. And we played a game, and the game was say a word, and when you say this word, use a different emotion, but use the same word. So I might say something like, oh man! Oh man! Or, oh man! So I actually said, I said the same 2 words, but I used a different emotion. The first one being more angered, second one being more surprised, and the third one being more happy. So in that story, does anyone want to guess of a rhetorical device that I may have used in that anecdote? Feel free to just shout it out. It's okay if you don't know, or I'm sure you know, Actually, I was doing some research for this. I realized that there was a lot more rhetorical devices than I could have imagined. And definitely lists of them. So we may be using them all the time and not even realizing it. I know I am. But what I tried to use there was imagery would be one of them. So what I tried to do today is talk about how to say it. And one of the objectives was use rhetorical devices. And again, these are tools that we can use to convey our message more clearly, more engagingly. So I think that Alfonso Soriano would agree how to say it is definitely important. And Alfonso, I think he would also agree that when we're misunderstood, it can be very frustrating. And when that happens, I would encourage you to think how to say it better. Thank you.
Thank you, Bryan. May we have a minute on the clock, please?